What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel, and with the fallout of SummerSlam this past Saturday and NXT TakeOver 36 last night, we have a very special episode of WWE's Biggest Issue, which this week's episode is on how NXT should be booked in the pursuit towards the next takeover, if I'm correct, it should be TakeOver WarGames, which would be around Survivor Series weekend. Next week's episode, I'm going to be talking about how Extreme Rules should be booked. Like, basically, how can I put it? Basically, how it all should go down leading into Extreme Rules. So, last night at TakeOver 36, we saw 3 titles change hands. We saw 3 titles change hands. We saw Cameron Grimes defeat LA Knight to become the new $1 Million champion. We saw Ilya Dragunov end the 870-day reign of Walter as NXT UK champion. And then Samoa Joe topples Karrion Kross with the Muscle Buster to become the only 3-time NXT champion ever. Not only that, we also saw Raquel Gonzalez retain her title against Dakota Kai, and on the pre-show we saw Ridge Holland defeat Trey Baxter in just dominating fashion. Which also, after Raquel's match, we did see the debut / return, if you will, of Kaylee Ray, the former NXT UK Women's Champion, and we also saw Kyle O'Reilly make Adam Cole tap out to a heel hook while he was handcuffed to a ring rope. Which brings me to some breaking news, and apparently, and I actually have it here on my phone. It's been reported. The reports have confirmed that last night was indeed Adam Cole's last appearance for NXT, and reports have also confirmed that Adam Cole has not re-signed with WWE. And from what I understand, on shop.com, on WWE's shopping website, no copyrights here. You guys know how this works. I believe all of Adam Cole's merch went on sale to 40% off, if I remember correctly. So, we're actually going to go to Superstars, and let us see. Here we are, Adam Cole. Here we are. So, from what I understand, apparently the sale was 40% off. From what I've been, yeah, literally 40% off. Everything went on sale, 40% off, including his new his new shirts, the old Undisputed Era t-shirts, standees, posters, his NXT titles, his NXT Championship side plates. They all went on sale. Every last one of them. I'm looking at them right now, and yeah. So this ties into the question. If Adam Cole is really done with WWE. So, honestly, it's hard to say, because as the reports suggested, Adam Cole's done with WWE. Supposedly, if he does re-sign, odds are he's been a part of NXT for what, 4 years now. He's done. He's done with NXT. I think his time is up. I think he's due to be on the main roster. I would love to see him on Raw, But at the same, obviously because you have guys like Bobby Lashley, you've got Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, you've got excuse me, you've got Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, but of course on SmackDown you have Roman Reigns, you've got Finn Balor, you've got Kevin Owens, a lot of guys that. There are so many guys that Adam Cole had faced during the whole Survivor Series, storyline that he could still face again if he gets called up to the main roster. So how should Adam Cole be booked? Easy. Put him on the main roster. Just put him in the main roster. Put him in a title match. Maybe against Roman Reigns. Honestly, Adam Cole versus Roman Reigns, I would love that. That would be one match I would love to see. But given the fact that when it comes to main roster call-ups, they really don't mix so well when it comes to NXT. But that could not be said about Adam Cole, because when he was during his time on the main roster, you guys know how it was. Adam Cole dominated Raw. He dominated SmackDown 2 years ago when he was NXT champion. So, but again, Cole, apparently reports say that he is done with NXT. If he does get called up to the main roster, that wouldn't be so bad, because that would just prove that WWE still wants Adam Cole to be the top guy, the top heel, in WWE. Because obviously now on Raw, the top heel is obviously Bobby Lashley. The top heel on SmackDown, as far as like the male competitors, if you will, is obviously Roman Reigns. Top heel on NXT was Karrion Kross. Now is, and also was Adam Cole. Now, in my opinion, I think that would go to LA Knight. LA Knight is, in my opinion, with Cole now gone, LA Knight is now the top heel in NXT. And apparently for the women's division, Becky Lynch has now become the top heel. I'll be talking about that on Thursday in my WWE news video on Thursday. Because there's going to be a lot to talk about. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But that being said, let's take a look at each champion and all of the different rivalries that's going on currently in NXT. Let's start off with obviously LA Knight and Cameron Grimes. So when you think about Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, one thing that comes into mind is their time in TNA. Back when LA Knight was known as Eli Drake, and of course Cameron Grimes was Trevor Lee. And it's interesting because I remember Trevor Lee very well. He was a part of the what was that faction? The Helms Dynasty, if I remember correctly, but that was like years ago. With Grimes now as the $1 Million champion, he's now taking in the $1 Million legacy, and there's really no telling how far LA Knight is willing to go to regain the title, but I really don't see Grimes losing the title anytime soon. One thing that I can say is that if this rivalry gets booked again for another match, my opinion, keep the title on Grimes. Because if you switch the title from Grimes back to LA Knight, there's really no telling how much prestige will be lost in that title. Because, don't get me wrong, LA Knight did bring some prestige into the title, but all he did was just taint the legacy of the $1 Million Man. That's all he did. Because of the fact that he had pushed Cameron Grimes to his breaking point, if you will. And he also excuse me. excuse me, and he had also tried to ruin Cameron Grimes' life, basically. So that's one thing that we can consider. Another thing that we can also consider is, have this match take place one more time. Grimes retains the title, and the rivalry is done, because this rivalry has gotten to the point now where it's completely useless. It's a useless rivalry. No point in continuing it any further. It's done. It is done in my honest opinion. Now, as far as the rivalry between Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, it's pointless now. It's pointless to keep this rivalry going. Dakota Kai is done. In my opinion, she's done with NXT. She's been a part of NXT for so many years. There's no point in keeping her in NXT. Just jump her over to Raw, jump her to SmackDown, wherever she is, and just leave it at that. There's been rumors going around saying that she is due for a main roster call-up. More specifically, a Raw roster call-up. Those are the rumors that I've been hearing. I'm not so sure if the rumors are true or not, but I can tell you that she has competed on WWE Main Event, which I believe can be streamed on Hulu, if I remember correctly. I haven't watched the Main Event in years, so yeah. But with Kaylee Ray now in the title picture, that right there, Raquel Gonzalez, Kaylee Ray, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. Raquel and Dakota Kai, it's done. It is done. Kai is done. Given the fact that Raquel Gonzalez had took the title from... Given the fact that Gonzalez took the title from Io Shirai back in April at TakeOver Stand and Deliver, it's interesting to see how this could play out. It's very, very interesting, if you will. So if you remember, on night 1 of TakeOver Stand and Deliver, Gonzalez actually defeated Io Shirai with the Shingona Bomb to retain, or actually to win the NXT Women's title. And then, of course, night 2, obviously we saw the match between Cole and O'Reilly. And then fast forward a little bit to TakeOver in Your House 2, she defeated Ember Moon in that night, in that women's title match. And then, of course, also I think it was also at the Great American Bash last month. I think she defended her title that night, if I remember right. I don't remember. It's been a minute, but yeah, honestly, Gonzalez, Kaylee Ray, that's where it's at. Kai's done. Put her in the main roster. Now, as far as the NXT UK title, Walter's done. He's complete. He's done with NXT. He's been long overdue for a NXT call-up, so he can join his Imperium brethren, Fabian Eichner and Marcel Barthel. That's done. Dragunov needs a new rivalry, needs a challenger. Walter is not that guy. I think, in my opinion, and this might be crazy to say, I think it's Joe Coffey. I think Joe Coffey is going to be the guy to be next in line for that title shot. Because if you guys remember at NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 1 and 2, the first TakeOver Blackpool, he went up against Pete Dunne challenging for the title, and he tapped out. With TakeOver Blackpool 2, he went up against Walter, and he actually tapped out as well. This time is going to be no different. I think, I guess rather, I think this time will be different, because with Joe Coffey now able to challenge for the title, one has to assume maybe this is Joe Coffey's time. Maybe it is his time. So I think going into a show like Halloween Havoc, if we do get one, or into War Games or whatever, Dragunov, Joe Coffey, book it. I'm just saying. Now, as far as Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, the rivalry's done. The rivalry's done. There's really no point in talking about it any further. As I said before, there have been reports that Cole's contract has expired. He has not re-signed, but I could definitely see Cole in the main roster. He's been due for a call-up for the last year now. So because if you guys remember, Adam Cole had been the NXT champion for 404 days. Lost the title last year to Keith Lee in a winner-take-all match, which it was the North American title versus the NXT title, and Keith Lee had not only retained his North American title, but also had won Adam Cole's NXT title, which he gave up the North American title to focus on the NXT title, which he ended up losing to Karrion Kross. Cole's done. Kyle O'Reilly now, I think, needs to be put into the title picture for the NXT title, which brings me to that. With Samoa Joe now as champion, one has to ask, what's next for Samoa Joe? If you guys remember, in my prediction video on Thursday, I think I had talked about how Samoa Joe had multiple concussions throughout 2019, 2020, and that could have backfired on him. Crazy enough, it didn't. As I talked about last night, excuse me, in the NXT TakeOver 36 result video, which you guys should definitely check out. Joe had defeated Kross for the title, making him the only 3-time NXT champion ever. Is that a feat that can be matched? No, probably not, because Finn Balor is on SmackDown. Shinsuke Nakamura is on SmackDown. Karrion Kross is on Raw. There's no way, unless if someone like Johnny Gargano were to regain the title, then lose it again, and then regain it, again. That might be a possibility, but honestly, I think if there was one man who I would not mind seeing challenge for the NXT Championship, honestly, I would have to say either Kyle O'Reilly or Duke Hudson. Duke Hudson, one of the new young guns, if you will, because Duke Hudson, he's pretty full of himself. He's got the charisma, he's got the swagger. He might be a big threat to Joe's reign as champion, but so could Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly could be a major threat to Joe's reign as champion, because just like Samoa Joe, Kyle O'Reilly also is a submission specialist, so it is possible. But as far as the NXT tag team division goes, I mean, MSK has been pretty dominant since winning the titles. What was it? Stand and Deliver, right? Oh no! No, I think it was at In Your House, wasn't it? I think so. Oh no! I think it was somewhere else. I want to say Great American Bash. I don't remember, but with MSK still tag team champions, they've beaten pretty much everybody that there is to beat. I think the only other tag team that they have yet to beat would probably have to be Hit Row. So MSK versus Hit Row, it's a possibility. But the NXT Women's Tag Team division, Shirai and Stark, they are not getting along. So I know that I get the fact that Zoe Stark wants to be friends with Io, but Shirai has had friends in the past. It's backfired on her in the end. The NXT Women's Tag Team house is like the only thing that she wants. That's like the only title she had that has eluded her career in NXT. In my opinion, I think once they lose the titles, Io Shirai is due for a main roster call up. I'd say put her on Raw. I'm just saying. But I will say this: with War Games coming up, I think the big question is, what would be the biggest rivalry that could be worthy of War Games, the War Games match? Honestly, I would have to say, in my opinion, and this might be crazy, but I would have to say Ridge Holland and I would probably have to say Ridge Holland and Timothy Thatcher, or Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, because Dakota Kai, she was being overshadowed by Raquel Gonzalez from her reign as NXT Women's Champion. If this rivalry goes deeper and deeper and deeper and gets even more personal, War Games, it's gonna happen inside of War Games. Dakota Kai will end up picking potentially Candice LeRae, or actually I would say that, but Candice LeRae is actually expecting a baby. So I would say the Robert Stone brand, which would be the Jessica Mann and Frankie Monet, and I don't know, maybe Indy Hartwell. Maybe Indy Hartwell. I'm not so sure. But as far as Raquel, it would probably be Kaylee Ray, and the women's tag team champions, in my opinion. But yeah, as far as like what could happen, that right there is what I believe should happen moving forward. Which brings me to the question of the day: what is your dream War Games match? Let me know in the comments below, and that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. And if you guys are new to the channel, you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue, which gets posted every Monday, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down in the description below. And if you guys have fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.